Yeah, it just wasn't quite right, and it's a position that, from a physical standpoint, if you're not quite right, like, it's not worth even playing around with. And we have, at the same time, we got great confidence in Stiggers and Chef, and we wanted to take a long look at them and JBC. So, we didn't want to put them in harm's way, and at the same time get a look at these younger guys.
Jeff, how did you think those guys did with Quantes and Sheffield, filling in yesterday?
There was really good moments, for sure, by both of them, and there was moments that both of them would like back for sure as well. So a little bit of a mixed bag in that way, but there was moments of some really cool stuff, especially from a young guy like Stiggers, who's just, he's learning football on the run, and to be where he's at for a guy that played zero college football and come where he's come from, it's pretty astounding. So it's just it's going to be fun watching him grow as a player and as a man in this game.
Jeff, did you say Quinnen has a hamstring? I missed that one.
He does. Yep.
Is that, hamstrings, we know how they can be. Is that something that you're concerned about?
I don't know yet. They're just gathering information as we speak. It's a position where sometimes hamstrings you can play with, just from the standpoint of there's less running, there's less opening your stride. But we'll see. At the end of the day, we will not put Quinnen in harm's way at all, and we'll do right by him.
Jeff, do you think because Aaron is so high profile and the expectations are actually massive for him, and the winning hasn't come, that he's in some way not credited for some of the things that he has done this season, just in terms of the way he's been banged up? He hasn't missed a game. The last couple of games, it seems like he's been a bit more healthy, and the performance has been up. Is there any element to that where you kind of think some of that stuff is maybe a little overlooked?
Yeah, I would agree with that. He's a historic player. He's done things in this league that had never done before. He's got talent that is generational. And with all those things, and he's won a ton of football in his career, and with all that comes great expectations. And I think there's some absolute truth to the fact that he struggled with injury for a good part of the season, and as he's starting to get healthier, you're starting to see Aaron Rodgers, the real Aaron Rodgers. So it's, it probably should be celebrated more than it is right now. But I also get it from the standpoint of our record and the lack of success from a team perspective. But last couple games have been, it's been really cool for him to get back into form.
As somebody who's played the game and, he knows some of the stuff he's been through, which many of us don't, how would you characterize the element of toughness not to have missed any time with the stuff that he's dealt with? Just the array of stuff, the hamstring, the knee, the ankle in London, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is we play in a day and age where guys are much more aware of injury and, for the most part, are less willing to play with injury for a lot of different reasons. So from that standpoint, he is an absolute throwback, and he demonstrates the type of toughness that you want to build a team around. So it's I think it's just a great message to these young guys not to ever play with the injury that puts you at risk, but understanding that in this league there's going to be nicks and bumps and bruises that you need to play with, and there's not a healthy man on a roster right now across the NFL. So powerful messaging, especially for the younger guys, and a testament to the man that he is and the toughness that he's demonstrating on a daily basis around here.
Rick, how would you assess how the defense played yesterday?
Not well enough. We didn't play well enough, especially on third down early. The first half, we extended drives because of that, and time possession got out of whack, yardage got out of whack. We can be better, especially from a third down standpoint. We can be much, much better. Just execution technique was just a little bit off here and there, and that's all it takes when you play in the NFL. So, got to tighten it up. Saying that, they came through in a critical moment at the end of the game, and for as hard as Sauce has been working this year and putting it in, I was so happy for him that he got to deliver that moment for us as a team.
How would you assess in the bigger picture, Jeff, of the defense? Because obviously there's been so much talk about how you're spread much more thin since you were given the interim job, when Robert was let go. The performance since then has not been up to the standard that you guys had prior to that. What's your explanation for that?
There's a little bit of everything, could I have done a better job in that span of time? Absolutely, and were there moments where players could have done a better job? I guarantee you they'd say the same, so it's been a byproduct of a lot of different things. But at the end of the day, the truth is we have not played to our standard, and it's not okay, and that group would say the same, and they're prideful, and obviously they've created that standard. I have not. They're the ones that crossed that white line, and for the past 3 years have played excellent football, excellent defensive football around here. So looking to finish this season the way that we started it, the way that we played the last couple of years, and really, for these guys to demonstrate exactly who they are, because you're right, we have not played as well as we're capable of playing.
We'll take a couple more for Coach. A couple more.
Jeff, the offensive line in recent years, you guys didn't really have a lot of continuity, and you've been able to have that a little bit this year. Like, how crucial has that been to see that group kind of grow together, and how exciting is it for the future, considering like 4 of these 5 guys are like pretty young dudes?
Yeah, it's an awesome testament to what the front office has done and put together as far as roster concerned, and for these guys to have the opportunity to play together for a long, long time. That's the special teams in this league that have that cohesion, that time on task from an offensive line perspective. In my opinion, it's the offensive line and it's the defensive secondary. When you can get those two groups together for an extended amount of time and they learn each other at the highest level, that's where championship level football starts and ends. And I think Detroit is a great demonstration of what that's supposed to look like. Their offensive line, obviously talented, and obviously they've invested a lot into it, but they've had a lot of time together now. So it's critical. You want to win a championship, start with your offensive line.
Jeff, when you see the way Aaron has played the last few weeks and most of the season, but especially the last few weeks, would you be surprised if he doesn't play another NFL season after this year?
I honestly, I don't ask myself that question or think about that very often, just from the standpoint we're just, we're so, in the moment and trying to get ready for opponents and to be at our best in that way. But I would say after seeing him run around the last couple of weeks and getting his mobility back and getting his health back, like every part of me is like, this guy's got a couple more years at the very least left in him. So, I think it's going to be a conversation between him and if he maintains good health, he's a guy that I would love to see play longer, just because he is such a special player.